riding to it, through a map, I'm through it. Mind check, your check, paycheck, his check. What the heck, reality check. Got me feeling like I'm tripping out, slipping down, making deals with the demons in the outhouse. Rat house, golden bowl, tell them yes, but feeling no. Watching Carrie going to and fro, like a devil and a demon, feeling like hell no. It ain't me inside, I died 2 years ago. During COVID lockdown, suicide, tyranny, genocide, hide the truth far away. Hate the lies away and makes you feel inside. I'm thinking rich, I'm for your bitch, you wanna lie.
Hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of EvonyBites. I hope you've had a great week since the last episode, or however long it's been. I want to jump right into maybe an odd approach to generals, but you guys know I'd like to take an odd approach. If unprofessional and low quality, at least it's entertaining. I like to take that kind of approach, a different little bit. And what we're going to do today on generals is, since I started the server, everything I've been doing, fumbling along and bumping along here, I haven't really gotten rid of generals. Maybe I've sold some. I've traded some in, obviously, to get some fragments to put some red stars on. But generally, I haven't, no pun intended, generally, I have not gotten rid of any generals. So I have a bunch sitting here, and I need to go through them and kind of get my bearings on what I've got, what I'm using, what I don't want to use, what I want to do with them. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity in the free play style for a lot of people, maybe from all walks of Ebony life and all ages of a server, might glean a little something from. Because as we go through generals, it gives a good idea as I talk through it, kind of how they break down for a new person, or maybe a new aspect on how the buffs work for a person who's played a long time, or maybe what you do with a general when you don't want it, or how to decide if you do or don't want a general. So there's a lot of things you can pick up from going through this, and I'll just kind of talk through it. First off, I want to say, some people may not know this, when you come into your general list, it's going to look like this, and that's fine, but you know, I have 72 of 90 generals. When you start to get a lot of them, if I'm wanting to go down to the general that's way down here, I'm just sort of boned, you know. I'm out of luck on scrolling. But if you go to where it says details right here, sort of midway up the top on the left side, click it, it'll go to list. Now to me, this is a far better way to organize your generals, and it's a small detail, but I find it very helpful. So going to Ilgi here, whatever his name is, there's a couple things nice I can point out starting to talk about here, and that is that he's a duty general. Very important generals. You don't want to pass up any of those anytime you come across them in the tavern. You want to grab them. And duty generals essentially are assigned to, let's say, supervisory positions over certain buildings. And you can do this with other generals. You can do it with a general that's not quote-unquote a duty gen, and that's duty, D-U-T-Y, not poop, duty gen. But the benefit in doing it with a duty specific gen, and what that means is, if we go to the specialty down here, it increases research speed by 20% when general is the academy officer. So not only do we get a benefit, academy driver on my own town here, not only do we get the benefit of research speed increasing by 5% for having a duty general on the academy, but in addition to that, by having him specifically, because of his specialty here on academy, we get 20%, so we technically get 25%, right? Just for having him on there. Now, this is sort of a gear topic. I don't really want to go into it, but since he happens to have one on him, this is a rare piece. Not everybody's going to get this. If you acquire these kinds of things, you know how you're doing it. If you don't, you might not. In any case, so it doesn't really matter for me to go into it either way, but it's kind of a cool thing you can add on duty generals. And I think I only have that one piece, so it's the only one to see here. So obviously I'll keep him. He's of high value, and he's actually in the upper echelon of the duty generals. All right, we're going to Sola here. Again, I've got a duty general, increases range troop attack by 15% and range troop defense and HP by 10% when general is the archer camp officer. So again, this one's going to work the same way. We go to archer camp. If you just have a duty general on here that's not specific, that's fine. You'll get range troop training speed 10% and range troop training capacity plus 500, just for having the general on there that's active. But in the case of Sulla, as we just saw, him being duty specific, you get the extra 15% range, defense, and HP, 10%, and attack 15. Sorry about that. So you get those things combined by just having him on there. So obviously, keeper, and he's a really good one actually. I got him through a sort of a rare event, not common. Ban Chao is a duty gen that is far more common. In fact, if my memory serves me correct, he was the very first duty general. Pretty wild. I was excited to get him, and it seems like just a month or maybe a couple months later, they made it so that every single server, including all the other previous ones, got him for free. He was like Sapo, you know, at the time. Everybody got him, which just made him sort of null and void, right? I mean, if like it gives you 20% increase to your in-city range troop attack. I'm sorry. Reduces enemy mounted troops attack by 20% and increases your in-city range troop attack by 20% when he's the archer tower officer. That's incredible until it's literally given to every single player, and then it negates each other, and then it's like not having him at all. So I was kind of upset about that at first, but now they don't really do that. But he is in the tavern, so I'm not going to go into this one as in depth, but you can see it's the same situation. High value. He's going to stick around. I happen to be using Zhang Fei as my assistant on the wall. I know. For many of you, that's bizarre. For some of you that have watched me for a long time, maybe not so much. Evony is releasing a whole lot more of these generals that say when general is leading the army. And they certainly insinuate that they're for attack. But I would challenge you to rethink that. And I think Evony certainly rethinks that. These things can get real complex when you begin using them on your wall. And he does work and is active on my wall, and he's incredible. Obviously, he's sticking around. So that's an important general you want to find and hang on to. That's an assistant general that works with your main general. Now, after I show you my main wall general here, which again is not a wall general, it's a quote-unquote attack general, but I'm using her on the wall. But after I go in here and show her to you, I'll go back over and show you how to find out if your wall gen and your assistant wall gen works together. So, again, we've got when general is leading the army. This one happens to be a range and siege machine focus general. And I've got her as my wall gen. So when the general is leading the army, that is specifically any damn time the general is engaging an enemy with troops under them. It doesn't matter where it is, in a sub, in the wall, marching, reinforcing, it doesn't matter. They're leading the army. If there's a battle happening, they're leading. So they work everywhere. If it says leading the army to attack, no sir. That will only work when that general is outside of your city. So it will not work on the wall. But those leading the armies do work. Alright, so that's my main attack general and assist. Let me go in there and show you how you see if that works. So right here, there's a number of things that don't really count in an assist general, like spiritual beasts, dragons. Your actual base stats there, you can see they're grayed out. At the top where it says 1142, 1075, 1013, 995 on Touchy Banana on her. And then I've got 524, 530, 517, 501 that's grayed out for Zhang Fei. I mean, those don't matter. So there's a number of things that don't matter, but books do, as long as they don't clash with each other. But if they do, they'll be grayed out down here. So I don't have any that clash with each other. All 6 are different books, and they don't overlap. But if you overlap them, you'll show one that's grayed out. Know that you're wasting that book. You need to switch it. But on the specialty right here, if the general doesn't work with the main general and many aren't compatible, then it'll be grayed out. So you can see we have 2 active generals here on the wall. That's how that plays out. Okay, this is a sub-gen. These are things I'm really particularly interested in, and you can see that it reduces enemy. So I'm going to try to speed this video up a little bit here by not going into too much detail. If you want to pause it and read that, go for it. He's a badass, by the way. But reduces enemy something. So that's what I want on my sub, and I happen to have 1 red star on him, which just adds 25% more reduction. So sub-gen, those are things you want to look out for. If you're doing development, it's probably generals that say gold production or construction speed up or something like that. That might help you more, troop building, something like that. But look, whether it's bosses or people, eventually we all want to fight. So the end goal should be those debuff generals. And what debuff general should you go for on your subs? The one you can get. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? 2% negative is better than 0% negative, the last I checked. So take any of them, always upgrading them to something better as you get it. And that's a law across Ebony also. Always use the best of what you have today, and everything you have today, waste nothing you can't use today. Always getting better when you can. The next one I have here is Yeon. Oh, refrain from saying the last name. It's a sensitive world we live in. But it's specialty here, reduces enemy. Okay, so again, this is a debuff general, prime for sub. So I've got him set aside on a sub. Sixi, the old witch here. Classic, man. She's been around Ebony for years, very long time. Never mind using her. Again, reduces enemy. She's a debuff. So I've got her on a sub. Now, I'll just point out, because I'm flying through here without pointing this out, that books, as long as they're sub-specific, go ahead and throw them on those sub-generals. They're definitely going to help out a lot. So, you know, you see you've got increases the construction speed by 45%. So that's a pretty massive stat. Increases subordinate city troops' death to survival rate by 5%. To me, this is highly important. It probably won't be to those who don't do battle a lot, but Rebirth book is really important because this is true in your main city and your subs, but your subs it's much more common in that when the last troop dies, then the wall is collapsed and the city is zeroed. And when the city is zeroed, your general dies. That matters because it's expensive to revive them, but it matters more because if you're going to have consecutive hits or consecutive battles instead of just one and walking away, which happens, it's common, but so is multiple hits, then let's say you hit them once. If you go to hit them again and some of your sub-cities zeroed out and you lost the troops, then you're not going to have that sub-gen active in the follow-up hit. So let's say there's a 50% reduction you've got that died because the cities got zeroed out that are no longer in your debuff. Now on the follow-up hit, you're going to do even worse. So it's good to try to keep troops alive inside of the sub-city. Do the troops inside of there matter? No. They suck. They're absolutely terrible inside the city. That's not the point. What we want them to do is a little bit stay alive so that they can make it through consecutive rounds. And does this book make that happen? No. But it helps. It's like the 2% beats 0% rule, right? Use what you can. Margaret 1, another sub-gen, reduces. I think I have 7 subs, so you're going to see 7 sub-generals here. Again, this is a repeat of Hojo. Somebody correct me on that if you want. I don't know how to say it. Alexander Nevsky is the last one I have that I'm not a real big fan of. He's kind of an old school, not great sub-gen, but he's what I got. Got him on a sub. And then Manza reduces enemy troops attack by 10%. Increases subordinate city troops death to survival rate by 10%. I wanted to read that out loud again because it goes back to that book. Now this is stacked on top of that book for my troops inside my sub being able to survive more of them staying alive through consecutive rounds so that I don't lose this general, so that I continue to get the debuff in the battle. Alright, this is what I've gone for my main attack gen. Is the big reindeer here. Ragnar. But he's got a nice rag, you know what I'm saying? My main attack gen, you're going to want to focus on a main attack gen. Obviously, I think that's everybody's goal, sort of, unless you're going for primary defense, which I always used to do, and therefore I made my attack general secondary. But in any case, somebody has either a defense or an attack general that they're after if you're playing Ebony. And so you need to pick one. How do you pick one? What are you after? Do you want to try to counter the player versus player standard and go ground? Do you want to try to do standard player versus player and go archer? Do you want to take rallies out and kill bosses really efficiently and also do really good asymmetrical battle and go cavalry? Well, whatever that choice is, again, if you've watched the video before this, everything balances out and everything has its pair that sort of helps you decide what to do. So what you're going to be doing decides what troop you need. That decides what general you need to find. Find that attack general. It's really viable. It makes a lot of sense for you to mix a general being both your attack general and your boss general. And you're going to do better at the player versus player part with archers and better at the boss part with cav, but that doesn't mean that you can't use both for either. There's certainly a place for that. Don't think because you built cavalry that all of a sudden you can't fight now. You can't drop your bubble. You're just going to get smoked. That's a bit black and white. It's definitely not that black and white. And later, if you know how, or when you really learn how to use cavalry, they're extremely powerful and deadly in battle. They're just delicate, and they have to be known how to play. Anyway, I'm digressing here. So pick your main attack general. Keep that going. Let's speed things up a little. Athena is who I'm going to use for cavalry. Does she work for player versus player and bosses? Yeah, she pretty much sucks for player versus player, but for now, I'm not really doing player versus player with cav. I'm trying to do some bosses, so I've chosen Athena. Scipio I've rocked with for now, just because he's so common. He's not bad, and I can go ahead and get him stacked and going. Plus, he was good for the damn adventure thing, which I don't care about the adventure game, but it had sick rewards here and there for the first part of the game. So I wanted to do well on that. Christina, I've just chosen today. First day of the event. I think she's the brand new general. I've just chosen her to be my siege general, and not because I'm at all ready to be attacking with siege or building up siege, but because I just want to be able to throw leftover gear, leftover general experience, leftover gems on cultivation, books, stuff like that on a siege gen and have it selected so I'm not wasting my progress building one. But I didn't want to be desperate and just pick a crap one. I find siege really important. But when she came along today, I was like, well, toot my horn, you know, suck me sideways. She's pretty nice. So I'm going to go with her on siege, hang on to her. So what I'm doing here is I'm picking a archer, a cavalry, a ground, and a siege general to be my primary attack. So I have all 4 waves that I can attack with. That may not be for everybody. That's what I'm doing, just to be clear. Sapo I keep around just because her point is to sit around in your city and hang out and drink wine, and by doing so she blesses your people with her holy presence. And so obviously, you know, you keep her around. I've kept this little D-bag right here, this little piece of garbage around for adventure, and because I put 5 stars into him and it cost me like $1.50 or something in the initial stages. And I don't mean to insult any man. I'm gonna say right now, use Hudson up, tear him up, you know what I'm saying? Turn that booty hole into a used balloon, because he's useful at first. I mean, Evony has made it that way, so get at it. But he is not a long-term general. If you think you're going to use him past a month, 2, if people don't laugh at you out loud, you got another thing coming. So I'll get rid of him, but I mean, right now I don't really care. He can sit there. I'm using Alfred as my assistant on my main attack general, Archer, which sucks. For me, long term, but for now I'm going for it. Arthur, I could kind of repeat my statements on Hudson. He's fine for a D-bag. George Monk is my assist to my cav, which, to be honest with you, in a way sucks, because the second part right here, mounted troops defense at HP by 40% when he's bringing a dragon or spiritual beast, is not active on an assistant general. It doesn't work. You can put one on there all you want. You can disagree if you'd like, and if you're my enemy and you're going to end up facing me soon, I definitely hope you think that works and go ahead and stack those up. It does not. So that's not going to be active on assist, but still, the increases mounted troops attack by 50% alone, for me on an assist being active, was well worth it. Princess Lucy, to be honest, for me, okay, that's increases resource gathering speed. I don't gather, but you know, if you do, keep them. I should add, when I don't care about a general, I don't waste, so I sell them. I'd rather have the gold for tech. Now, Harold I keep. He's not great. It increases range troop attack by 30%. This is a good example of a base general that a non-coiner or low coiner might want to shoot for a range general. Increases range troop attack 30%. It's not bad. It's a good standard. That's a general you could settle for, or anything like that, to make your main general. Now, if you have the ability to coin a little heavier or coin real heavy, do not stop there. But he does make a good backup archer boss killer, which is what I do with him. I'm like, okay, I got 100,000 more archers to send at this. Who do I use? Harold, bro. So there he sits. Pirates, I'm currently using this little pirate right here as my assistant for ground with Scipio. Not amazing, but he's what I got. Maurice's Siege, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him, but he's pretty sexy. I might try him out with Catherine or whoever that was. Christina up here. Theodora, to me, actually is a decent cavalry general for players who can't spend a lot, you know, who aren't going to get a real high-end general that can max them out. She's easy to get. You'll be able to ascend her pretty easy. She does her job well enough on cavalry and monsters and rallies that if you're going to be a rally machine, yeah, don't hesitate to use Theo. She's not bad at all. For me, I'm going to dismiss her. I'm going to go ahead and get those runestone chests, and you can see I got a bunch of her because that's how commonly they give her out. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it in for the 30 million gold and the runestone chest. Gold for obvious reasons, because tech, yeah, right? Among other various little things, but mostly tech. And you may ask, oh man, that's crazy, you had a bunch of those cool gens and I'll never get a bunch, or I like to save mine, you know, why would you sell it? Well, to win. And to explain that, I guess what I mean is, look, I want every gold coin, every last single experience point, every last 0.0001 percentage stacked onto my account today, right now, at this exact moment, not later. Because I want to be the best that I can right now, not later. You know, I don't want to waste anything sitting around. If a general is going to sit there and look pretty or do me absolutely no good, and I know what I'm doing in the game, I know what I want to do, so I know I don't need a general, why would I not immediately turn that into tech that makes me more powerful today? Now, that's me. I'd rather have a little horsepower under the hood than a nice hood ornament. Now, if I could have both, sweet, but I'm trying to streamline here. I think everybody should do that. 8th, again, is a good boss killing gen. But I don't know. I haven't tried her with Athena yet. It's the only reason I'm keeping her, because she might work. Napoleon, I just flat don't like or use. Sold. Not my deal. James Bowie on the wall, I will not use. Sold. Not my deal. Empress Wu is a good example of a general someone might want to go for who's more into slow build, free to play, rallying monsters, more development minded and based subsidies, because she helps your construction speed by 75% subsidy. That can be real helpful for you. I typically actually hang on to her just to throw in a new sub when I get it for about a week, just to give it a little boost at first. Siege machine attack 35 and HP 20. Frankly, that's low, and although he's kind of a sexy old dude, I kind of like him, he's movie-esque, I want that gold for tech. Not going to use him. It's just not up to par for me. Franz Joseph is, yes, absolutely sweet. He does not work with my Ragnar, which just makes me want to poo myself and throw up a little bit in my mouth, but he doesn't work. But I'm going to hang on to him for now because he's just too sweet, and maybe I'll want a secondary or something. I'm not really sure. Elise, boy, that's sad, you know, but I'm not going to use her. I just really don't like Elise. So again, I want to make the example here. I don't keep him, man. It's a waste of me. Douglas, he just doesn't toot my horn. Gonna get rid of him. Ludwig, I will just not use this guy for anything. He just doesn't work for me. Don't like his stats. We're gonna kick him to the curb. Both of them. Turin's real interesting. That might be something I could work with on an assist or a defense gen or something wild. Zucca's got some pretty dang nice siege machine and range, but I don't really need that combination. I'm gonna sell him. Man, he's pretty sweet looking, but I'm just not gonna use that. You know, let's bite the bullet. I do like me some Edward Teach, man, but he's got the spiritual beast kick on him, and that just doesn't work in assist general for me. I can't do the spiritual beast on assist. Here's a good example of another basic general, perfect for that category we're talking about, that which is most everyone. Okay. It's a pretty good cav gen that you could be happy with. If you get Eugene, you could go, oh man, is this somebody I could finalize and use for my cav gen? Yeah, sure. Is there a lot better? Absolutely, a ton. Does he cut it and get you in the playing? Get you in the rankings and getting you competing? Yeah, he does, man. You can take him. I'm going to sell him. All right, Serena. She attacked 25%. Yeah, he's really, in my opinion, for Siege, terrible. I have high expectations on Siege. It's a different matter. We're going to get rid of all copies of him. Polly, I'm going to hang on to. Really like him as a cav gen. Maybe he'll still work somewhere. I don't have that lined out. Same here. I don't have that lined out on my assists and calves. I'll hang on to them. I could keep this a little bit short at this point by kicking to some things that I know I won't use, you know what I mean, like real quickly, and just popping in and getting rid of them. Let's speed this up a little bit. I don't need to show you guys everything, but I definitely know there's some peeps in here that they're just not going to get used. Let me just make it. Oh, actually, I like to use him in the Senate. Oh, Shajar, also known as You're Gonna Die. Yeah. Shajar Latrash. You put her on your wall thinking you're going to get more resources, and you will get zeroed and die like the punk that you are, in all due respect. It happens to everyone who uses Shajar. Don't try to get yourself a few extra million resources when you're going to get zeroed over it, because she sucks on the wall. I swear Evony put her out to make more money. That's a debuff gen. I might keep him. Nathaniel Green, don't care. And then we can get into these perp gens. Now, do perp gens work? For beginning tasks, I guess. I wouldn't go in and put really anything into a perp gen, a purple gen, you know. Yeah, they're okay to toy with. Cleopatra's nice, yeah. They're okay to toy with, but they're just not long-term material. You're not going to be able to contend for the money that you have to put into them for what you get out of them. They're not going to do anything for you. Toy around with them, use them for tasks, but don't really do nothing with purple gens. That being said, don't do anything with crappy gold gens either, as you see that I didn't. Alright guys, well, I hope that got a little something going on generals. If you were able to maybe pull something out of that for your usage, I hope that you were. We went over a lot there in generals. If you guys have any questions or comments about what we just went over there, please pop it in there. I'm going to go ahead and head on to another video so we can keep the information flowing, my nerds. Thanks so much for joining me again. EvonyBites, out.
Be led by my words to utter and total disgrace.